This is Dr. Muzaffar Ahmad Bhatt from PG Department of Sericulture, Poonch Campus, University of Jammu. We will discuss about hereditary and environment, genotype and phenotype, pure lines and inbred lines. Hereditary and environment. The question of the relative importance of hereditary and environment will never end because people argue about whether human behavior is intensive, that is hereditary, or learned, that is environment. Especially in a social organism like human, the effect of environment is more prominent. Hereditary is the transmission of characters from parents to the offsprings. Inherited factors and environmental factors always act together in complicated ways. Question of nature versus nurture. Nature refers to the characteristics of people that they inherit and their biological makeup, while as nurture refers to the environmental factors such as family, culture, education, and individual experiences. Sir Francis Galton became one of the first to stress the importance of nature, published in the book in 1869, that is Hereditary Genius, which analyzed families. He concluded that success ran in families and concluded heredity was the cause. John Watson stressed the importance of environment. Now, genes and behavior. Genes are the basic units of hereditary. Genes affect behavior through their role in building and modifying the physical structures of the body. Those structures interact with the environment and produce behavior. Genotype and phenotype. Genes encode proteins that produce a diverse range of traits. The same genes can have many versions. First, a gene is a piece of DNA that directs a cell to make a certain protein. Each gene has a locus, a specific position on a pair of homologous chromosomes. Allele. An allele is an alternative form of a gene occurring at a specific locus on a chromosome. Each parent donates one allele for every gene. There are homozygous genes and heterozygous genes. Homozygous genes describe two alleles that are the same at a specific locus. Heterozygous genes describe two alleles that are different at a specific locus. Genes influence the development of traits. All of an organism's genetic material is called the genome. A genotype refers to the makeup of a specific set of genes. The morphological outcome of a genotype, that is gene, is the phenotype. And the phenotype of any organism is necessarily a result of interaction of a genotype with an environment. Since through the long course of domesticating, the wild silk moth has now become a completely indoor insect. To get the best productivity, the silkworm must be maintained under strictly controlled humidity, light, temperature, and nutrition. Alleles can be expressed using letters, that is dominant allele and recessive allele. A dominant allele is expressed as a phenotype when at least one allele is dominant. A recessive allele is expressed as a phenotype only when two copies are present. Dominant alleles are represented by the uppercase letters, while as recessive alleles by lowercase letters. Both homozygous dominant and heterozygous genotypes yield a dominant phenotype. Most traits occur in a range and do not follow simple dominant recessive patterns. Now the question arises, what is the difference between genotype and phenotype? The morphological outcome of a genotype, that is the gene, is called the phenotype. The genotype or the combination of genes in any organism does not carry any meaningful sense unless it is expressed. A sequence of the DNA in a test tube and the same sequence in the body of a man carries different meanings, and the phenotype of an organism is necessarily a result of interaction with its environment. Pure lines and inbred lines. Inbred lines have two copies of the same genome and are sometimes called pure lines because after self-pollination, all offsprings are identical to the parent organism. The homogeneous generations of repeatedly self-pollinating plants or self-fertilizing animals in which most genes are homozygotes. Pure lines are obtained from a single ancestor and are maintained by self-pollination and selection. Pure lines are important in agriculture in many ways as they are the main structural elements of plant varieties. Hybridization of two pure lines often results in heterosis in the first hybrid generation. Certain hybrid varieties of corn are obtained in this way. The term pure line is sometimes incorrectly applied to inbred lines, which are the progeny of animals or cross-pollinated plants obtained from a single pair of ancestors and maintained over a number of generations by constant crossing of related individuals and by selection. For example, pure line laboratory mice are used to study carcinogens and cancer treatment. Pure line selection generally involves some distinct steps. First one, numerous superior appearing plants are selected from a genetically variable population. Number second, progenies of the individual plant selections are grown, and number third, evaluated by simple observation frequently over a period of several years. Thank you all.